I work at the Economic and Social Research Council in our data strategy team. Predominantly looking sort of 3, 5, 10 years time in terms of trying to understand what the Economic and Social Research Councils and the councils more widely need to do for our data infrastructure. So these are some boilerplate slides, so I'll fly over them because hopefully I'm speaking to a fairly informed room. But ESRC is one of 7 research councils. We've been brought together to form UKRI. We've got a budget of about £6 billion a year. And the research ESRC has a budget of just over £200 million. And we also spend about 33 million of that on data infrastructure. All of the research councils recently have just delivered or published our delivery plans, so those are up on our websites. These are sort of the standard ESRC objectives that haven't changed. In essence, we want to fund world-class research that makes a difference. So, this is new for the ESRC delivery plan. What we've done is identified areas of research interest. We will still obviously have things such as our open research calls that allow bottom-up ideas from the community, but we have identified areas where actually we think there's specific need from the community for research in these areas. The first 3 are around productivity, prosperity and growth, next generation public services and living digitally. Then these are sort of wider initiatives that actually just need to be able to quickly respond to emerging issues around changing populations, the UK in a changing world, and global development and environment and society. So you can have a look at those basically on the website and find out more detail about them. What I would say is coming up with these areas, what we did was we engaged the community, we engaged government departments, we worked with our advisory councils, all that kind of stuff. And what's clear is that 90% of the areas of research interest for government departments are purely social science. 60% of them have a massive degree of social science in them, and so therefore we're one of the smallest councils. We have a significant role to play in making our society better, stronger, more prosperous. And so therefore, we needed to focus in on areas that we identified there was a huge need. But at the same time, there was some prioritisation. So, as I say, I work in data infrastructure. Hopefully this shouldn't be new, but happily, the UK has a world-leading data infrastructure. We've got world-leading longitudinal studies. We've invested heavily in what was in vogue at the time, big data, through the 8 great technologies. And we've also got flagship investments such as the UK Data Service. So this is a broad overview of our data infrastructure. As I say, we've got data services which provide access to data and help unlock data. So that's the UK Data Service, the Administrative Data Partnership, which is in essence phase 2 of the ADRN, Consumer Data Research Centre that is a part of, the Urban Big Data Centre and the Business and Local Government Data, longitudinal studies, cross-sectional studies, and then a number of things to help actually make sure that people use our data and use our infrastructure, because if we were investing £33 million a year, we need to demonstrate that actually it's being used and it's valuable and it's of value to the community. So we've got the Secondary Data and Analysis Initiative and the Social Data Science Lab at Cardiff as well that develop things such as Cosmos, which helps users use Twitter data. And then obviously a series of investments around skills, methods, etc., etc. So this is our long-term vision. I won't go into it because you can read it when I circulate the slides. But in essence, what we've developed is quite a fragmented landscape of data infrastructure, where we've got all of these investments doing slightly different things, understandably, because they've got different thematic areas that are of value to data owners, so they help build relationships, etc., etc. But we've developed quite a fragmented landscape, and so what we need to do is make sure that for the next phase we develop something that's a bit more integrated and operable, because actually linking and combining data sets is something that is going to be an ever-pressing need moving forward. So things such as an admin data spine linked onto the longitudinal studies that give sort of a core resource moving forward will be vital. So this hasn't been published yet, but it's in essence our vision for data infrastructure, and what it identifies is a number of gaps. The gap that we've been kicking around for 4 or 5 years now is around new and emerging forms of data. That's a bit that I lead on, and broadly we've taken sort of the OECD definition, and I'll come on to that in a bit. It's been going on for a little while now, but it is a pressing need, and things are already happening in our existing data infrastructure, but we need to bring it together and sort of have a coherent program of activities. These are our near-term ambitions. So one is scoping investment for archives of the future, is what we're calling it. It kind of talked to a little bit of what Sue was talking about developing sort of the end piece of thinking how we actually manage and curate all of this data. UK Data Service may be a part of, well, will be a part of it, but there'll be need to be a slightly revised way in terms of thinking about how we curate and manage and leverage all of this data and the increasing amount of data and the need to analyse it at sort of near to real time. Okay, I'll fly through these. So, as I say, I work on new and emerging forms of data. As I say, we're taking the OECD definition. Broadly out of scope is government transactions, official registrations and licensing, because we broadly see that as something that the ADR UK is playing a significant role in, particularly around linkage of government department data. What I'm scoping out at the moment is what we need to do around commercial transactions, so things such as CDRC, Leeds and UCL have already been undertaking significant work in this area. Internet data deriving from social media, tracking data, and image data as well, so satellite data and that kind of things. OECD, so it was, 2013, Understanding the Human Condition. And things have moved on a little bit, so we need to have a think about actually what are the other forms of data that potentially we need to think about, and that may be stuff such as biometric data and other forms of data. And actually, I have a challenge. Because these are very different types of data, and we broadly lump them under new and emerging forms of data title. And actually the skills, methods, challenges associated with managing these kinds of data are quite different. And so therefore we need to have a careful think about how we go about this moving forward. So what do I aim to do? Synthesize what's already going on, or evidence. Map and assess relevant initiatives, pulling on lessons learnt from ADRN, the business and local government data centres, of which CDRC was one of them, things such as the Digging into Data challenge that was the transatlantic programme, identify opportunities for partnerships, and understand broadly needs around access, creation, usage, skills and methods, and then consider what we do and sort of have a vision, etc. So broadly, we'll be engaging the community in this kind of thing. I'll be coming along to events like this to try and understand what the challenges are, try and understand how those challenges map into identified areas of research. So we're already having discussions with the Department for Transport around potential opportunities there, and linking into government and other key partners to make sure that what we actually fund makes a difference and can have an impact through sort of collaborative development.